Another day, another update on our IUI attempt number 4. So when our clinic called on Friday night, I wasn't ready. It was at day 9, so I wasn't super sure that I would be ready for an IUI on Monday. I was hopeful, but they said that I needed to schedule an ultrasound for Monday, which I had preemptively done because I did not want to get into issues that I had had before. So I told them that, and they were like, okay, I'm so glad you did that because we would have scheduled you, but we have nothing available. So anyway, I was very grateful I had made that appointment, and I just had that appointment. So we went in, me and Jeremy, hopeful that tomorrow we would have an IUI, and it ended up being that my follicles had only grown like 1 millimeter on my right ovary and, 1 millimeter in both ovaries. So my one on my right was now like 13.5, and that was the biggest one, and then there were 2 measuring on my left, but both like 10 and 11 millimeters. So nothing large. So unfortunately, this is already day 12, so I'm not super hopeful that this will end up working, but I have a new prescription of Femara that I will be taking, and I have an ultrasound scheduled for Thursday. So that'll be day 15 in my cycle. I don't think I've ever gone that long without ovulating, but she assured us that I pretty much won't ovulate. Like, my follicles won't be mature enough to ovulate until they're like 18 to 19. So we'll see how that goes, but I will go pick up that prescription and start taking it. Luckily, my endometrial lining was already a 6 point something, so I'm not going to take any more estrase. And hopefully, as my follicles grow, they'll produce enough estrogen to thicken my lining a little bit more, and then we'll come back for an ultrasound on Thursday. So maybe this is just me stressing, but I went and bought ovulation predictor tests yesterday, and I took one yesterday and it was positive, and I just took one this morning and it's very positive. And so I am going to call my clinic. I tried to call them last night, but nobody answered. I'm going to call my clinic. I'm going to see what they say, because honestly, I'm really nervous that I'm just going to ovulate on my own, no matter if my follicles are mature or not, and then we're going to miss another IUI, and I'm just ready to move on. Like, I'm ready. We only had to do 3 IUIs because our insurance requires it before we can move on to IVF. I highly doubt that my fertility clinic could send in something and say, hey, we've tried 2, we've missed both of them, we want to be able to move on to IVF and get that approved. I don't think that would happen. I think they're just going to require me to do this 3rd one, and so I'm really like, can I just do it? Like, mature follicles or not, I know that's probably not like something that they can do in like all of their requirements. They probably have things that you have to pass through to be able to do an IUI, like mature follicles before they'll trigger, and and like maybe we don't trigger since I'm already getting positive ovulation tests. Maybe we just do an IUI on Thursday. So I'm gonna call and see if there's something we can do so that I don't miss it. I don't want to go in to do more ultrasounds just because we've already done 3 monitoring this cycle, but I'm willing to do more if that means that we can catch this, or just complete another IUI so we can move forward with IVF whenever that time comes. Okay, another update. So on Monday after my ultrasound, I was not feeling very confident. I was feeling pretty nervous, so I started taking OPKs, and it was positive Monday, it was positive Tuesday, and I was a little bit freaking out, and so I was really stressed that we were just gonna miss it since I was getting positive ovulation tests. And so I called and talked to them, and they said they could get me in for an ultrasound if I was feeling nervous about it and if that would put me at ease. So I came in for that ultrasound on Tuesday, and I immediately felt really dumb because she comes in and she's like, okay, so tell me what's going on because we just saw you yesterday. And so already I was like, okay, well, this is dumb of me.
and she checked everything. She's like, you can get false positives on those tests, because my follicles were exactly the same size as they were the day before, 13.5 on the one side, and then one of my smaller ones had grown to like 12.5, and there was an 11. And so I have 3 follicles growing, but they were still really small. And anyway, she was like, well, we can test your LH, we can do some blood work, we can test your progesterone or LH. I was like, well, what will that tell us? What will that do? And she's like, well, it could just give you some reassurance that you haven't ovulated. And I'm like, well, I just saw the ultrasound. I didn't ovulate. And if you guys are saying that I won't ovulate until at least 18 or 19, then I'm just gonna have to be okay with it. So anyway, that was Tuesday. I felt really dumb. It wasn't really helpful. I kept taking OPKs, and then I came in for my ultrasound today on Thursday, and the provider asked, she was like, okay, so there's actually 2 people that I see, and I definitely prefer one over the other, but the one today, she was like, okay, so have you stopped taking your ovulation kits? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, I would, since you're getting false positives. And I actually got, this morning when I took it, it was positive again, so I have no idea what the heck is going on. But also, the cycle has been the weirdest out of all of my cycles, because today, when she checked, my biggest one was 17.5 on my right ovary, and the other ones had barely grown at all, so they're not like much bigger. I think like 12 and 13 or something. So not much bigger, but the plan is now to come back tomorrow, have an ultrasound, see where everything's at for a potential trigger on Saturday for an IUI on Monday. And honestly, at this point, I'm like, even if we miss my ovulation for like actually getting pregnant this cycle, like I'm okay, because I really just want to this is our last IUI. I want to get it done. I want to move on. At this point, it's been a year since we started doing IUIs, and I'm just ready to move on to the next thing, because IUI for us doesn't give us much greater chance of getting pregnant than on our own if we were fertile, even though we're technically unexplained. I have endometriosis, but from what we know about what I have, it shouldn't be bad. So anyway, it shouldn't be like stopping us from getting pregnant. So anyway, I'll be back tomorrow for an update about what's next. I forgot to mention that yesterday I had crazy adverse reaction to the Femara. I've had dizziness and nausea before in the past, but yesterday I woke up and like I moved my head and I was like so dizzy, and I was dizzy and nauseous, and I did throw up one time yesterday, but I was nauseous all day. Like by dinner time I was able to come upstairs and eat some food, but like that's it. And I even had Jeremy call for me because I was that nauseous. I was like in the bathroom most of the day. I was able to go lay in the bed and just like lay down for quite a while, but a lot of the day was spent in the bathroom just in pain and nauseous. And they said to that, when Jeremy called yesterday, they said to take it at night because sometimes it's better at night. So I took my yesterday dose at night, and then when I talked to the provider today, she said that I like sometimes it can be like a one-off thing where you don't have any reactions, or you have like these crazy reactions one time and then you won't the next time, but I did have it before, so I told her that. So she said hopefully we won't have to do another IUI. This will be our last one, but if we do have to do another IUI, that we will then discuss different medication, because I don't want to have that happen again. So there's that too.
Okay, so the absolute roller coaster of emotions that you go through. I took my last dose of Femara yesterday. I had my ultrasound today. And I'm feeling some cramps and stuff on my right ovary, and so I'm feeling really hopeful. I know my doctor did say to stop taking my OPKs because she was like, well, obviously you're getting false positives, but I got a positive yesterday, and then I got a lighter not positive anymore this morning. So honestly, I don't think I was getting false positives. I think I just got positives a lot longer. Like, my cycle was definitely weird this time because I've never gone this far without ovulating. And I mean, maybe, hopefully by the time I go in today, my appointment's not till 11:45. Hopefully by the time I go in today, I haven't missed ovulation, because I don't know what they would do at that point. But so excited. We're gonna go in, and I'm kind of hopeful actually, because if my lining is really good, which yesterday it was like 7.5 or 7.47, and if my lining is good today, like, this is probably the best that we've ever done in like timing things, I guess. Hopefully my follicles have grown. Yesterday 7.5, so if it's grown 2, that would be great. And then we'll just go from there and see.
Okay, I was looking forward to that appointment, and it ended up being a really awesome appointment, so I'm excited about that. My right ovary, my follicle there was 21, and then I had another follicle growing, but it's like 10 millimeters. And then on my left ovary, I did have one that was 14.5, and then another one that was like 11. And so she did have to tell me that since today's Friday and I'm gonna do an IUI on Monday, that follicle will continue to grow. So it's possible that when I trigger, that follicle might be mature enough to possibly be get twins. And I'm like, I'm not gonna get my hopes up on that, because we haven't even gotten pregnant with any of our other IUIs. But my endometrium, my lining was good. It was actually 7.3, so I wonder how those differ, because last time it was 7.4. But that's okay. It's still looking good. It's going to continue to grow as those follicles continue to mature, and then I will do a trigger. It's going to be 3:45 a.m. so I have to set an alarm, wake up. They said I can pre-mix my trigger shot and just leave it in the fridge, so that when I wake up at 3:45, I can just do the trigger shot, and then I will come in for an IUI on Monday at 3:45 p.m. So that is what things are looking like now.